Hey, folks. Welcome to this episode of Trigger Happiness. I am Kyle Brost, and welcome those on Facebook, welcome those on Instagram who are joining me. Today, we are going to talk about the idea of perfection and why you're never right. The truth is that you are never right. And yet, there's this contradiction between perfection and believing we're right. And I think that this concept that you think you're right is driving a desire to be perfect. And you need to get that out of your head. You need to realize and recognize that perfection is not something that is a matter of being right. There's no right or wrong way to do things. So a good example, here's a story I'll start with, is I did a presentation in Maui a couple of years ago around leadership. And when I did it, what we did is we started out and we lined up on the wall. We had these big sheets printed out of leaders, current historical leaders, people that were perceived as phenomenal, great leaders. And we lined them up all around the room. And for the first 10 minutes before I even started presenting, what we did is we had people walk around the room and look at all of these leaders, read some of their quotes, do some research on them. And then we asked the question, what do all of these people have in common? So there were 10 different leaders from, Mother Teresa to Jeff Bezos to Napoleon, all these people that were perceived as great leaders. And we asked individuals to answer that question. What did all of them have in common? So what do you think? Instagram, Facebook, what do you think? What did all of these leaders have in common, all 10 of them? Any guesses? Well, it's a little bit of a trick question. Love. That's an interesting one. Maybe. What we came up with is that they didn't have anything in common. So some of them may have shared attributes, one or two or three of them may have shared attributes, but all 10 of them, we struggled to find something that all 10 of them had in common. And the moral of the story is there's no right way to lead. There's no right way to accomplish things. Everything that you're trying to accomplish, everything that you're trying to do can be done in more than one way. And that's the problem with perfection, is it makes this massive assumption that there is only one way to do it. And unless you do it that way, you'll do it wrong. And that is completely false. In all of my experiences consulting with so many companies, it's not even funny, working with dozens and dozens, hundreds of leaders, I have never found somebody that found just the right way to do something. Now, people find successful ways of doing stuff all of the time, but there is no right way to do anything. There are many ways to get it done. You look at all of these people from history, people that we respect, a key one, Thomas Edison. How many times did he try stuff and fail? And yet he came out with these life-changing, world-changing inventions. And it wasn't because he knew the right way to do it. It wasn't because he sought after perfection. It was because he iterated. He tried something, he found that it failed, he tried again. So the key to this idea of perfection is get it out of your head that there is a right way to do it. When you have that belief that there's a right way to do it, you open up this huge gamut of possibilities for failure because you've only identified and defined one narrow thing that seems right to you. And anything outside of that is going to be failure. But that's just not true. There are so many ways to get it done. And so you put yourself in this really negative spiral when you do that. You put yourself in this position where unless you do it this one way that's in your head, you feel guilty and you feel bad and you lose progress and momentum. Perfection is simply getting things done and making progress. It is not doing something the right way. So how do you do that? How do you make that mental shift from believing that there is a right way to do something to recognizing that there's not a right way, that there are hundreds of ways of accomplishing something? How do you make that mental shift? Well, as with all things, it is through experience. You have to create experiences where you get to see that changing the way you approach a problem is okay, that changing your solution is okay, and that doing that still allows you and enables you to make progress. So you have to get to the edge. You have to take that leap of faith and say, you know what? I had it in my mind that this was the only way to do it, and guess what? I'm gonna get out of my comfort zone. I'm gonna try something new. I'm gonna try a different way, and I'm gonna see what the results are. But until you have those experiences that challenge your mindset, you won't change your mindset. You have to mirror those experiences with mindset. And that's where people struggle, is they try to keep everything in their head. We talk about mindset all the time in entrepreneurship and self-improvement and professional development. We talk about mindset, and yet mindset has to get out of the mind at some point. And so the number one tip to making that shift from being a perfectionist and believing there's just one right way to do things is to create experiences that challenge that belief. You have to take a step off the ledge. You have to get out of your comfort zone, try something different to realize and recognize that you can still make progress. You can still accomplish your goals. You can still do incredible things by trying things a different way. Now, the biggest problem that I see with perfection is how much it stalls and stops people in their tracks. So I talk and I work with lots of entrepreneurs, I work with lots of organizations, and one of the things that we like to do up front is we like to be as prepared as possible. We like to get data and analytics, and we like to plan out and map out all of these potential scenarios so that we're prepared for every possible situation. And what I found in my experience is that there is this tipping point of preparation where it becomes overwhelming and it becomes self-defeating. So as you prepare, your ability to execute increases until a certain point. And then once you reach that point, the preparation becomes overwhelming. You start to see how massive this thing is. You start to second guess and doubt, and you start to see implications and connections. And once you hit that tipping point, it becomes self-defeating. So this intent of improving your likelihood of success goes up, and then you hit this tipping point with too much preparation, and you start to lose momentum, you start to lose motivation, you start to lose the buy-in and engagement of people, and your likelihood of success starts to go down. So while preparation is phenomenal, and I encourage tons of preparation, you have to recognize that you're reaching that tipping point so that you don't lose momentum. You have to recognize that preparation is only good until a certain point, and then too much preparation will kill your motivation, it will kill your progress, it'll kill your ability to move forward. Sometimes we call that paralysis by analysis, or analysis paralysis. Hey, Barzanadir, how's it going? So the two tips that we're giving you, first off, recognize that there is no right way to do something, that there are multiple ways that you can get things done. If there was one right way to do something, you'd see everybody doing the same thing and getting the same results, but you don't, because there's not one right way to do things. So that's first tip. Get that out of your mindset that there's one right way to do things and experiment. Second tip, you have to create experiences that challenge that belief, that challenge that mindset that there's one right way. You have to create these experiences by getting out of your comfort zone and testing different methods and approaches. One of the things that I would suggest is go find someone who's doing it differently, who has a different way of approaching a problem, and ask them, how would you approach this problem? How would you approach this scenario? And try their method, their approach, versus sitting in your own head and thinking that you're going to come up with the right way and that it's going to be perfect. And then the last one is make sure that you don't over prepare. Don't get to the point, that tipping point, where your preparation has now become self-defeating and it paralyzes you from making progress forward. So that is a real quick Trigger Happiness episode today, all about not being a perfectionist, about recognizing and realizing that there's not one right way to do things, balancing your preparation with action, and creating experiences that challenge your mindset or belief. That's the only way to really shift your mindset, is to create experiences that demonstrate and challenge those things. My friends, thank you for joining this quick episode of Trigger Happiness today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out, shoot me a DM, visit my website. whatever works for you. I'm open, I'm available. Let me know, and we'll try to give you the resources and the tools that you need to make progress, to become exceptional, improve your strategic thinking and your emotional intelligence. Have an awesome day, and thanks for watching. Go share it with your friends, hit the like button, give us some love. We always appreciate that, and you guys are awesome. Thanks again for your engagement and joining us. Have an awesome day. Thanks. Hey, Jay Paul, shoot me a DM and we can connect.